Hey, if you play guitar, you're gonna be put in this situation. And if you haven't yet, it's going to happen. At a party, at a dinner with your family, someone is gonna say, hey, you play guitar. They're gonna take out a guitar and they're gonna say, play something. And then you're like, okay. And then you start throwing chords together and I don't know, you start getting confused and everyone's like expecting you to play something amazing. Or maybe you're just trying to create your own tunes, to write your own tunes, and you don't know what chord comes next and you're trying to figure out and nothing really works. So let me give you this simple formula that always works. One of my students, Tressa, flew all the way from the States to Barcelona so we could jam together, and I was the one creating chords. She was playing solos over it, right? And then I kind of like got tired of playing chords and I told her, play me something. So she started doing just that. She started with an A and then I don't know, an F and then I don't know, a G, started getting confused, and I was like, just grab your ultimate guitarist chord book and look at the chart, look at the formula. And she was like, okay. She looked at the formula and instantly she came up with a beautiful chord progression and we jammed for hours and it was so much fun. So in order to apply this formula, we're gonna be using this. And I know what you're thinking, oh no, here we go. Everyone tries to overcomplicate this. When I was trying to figure out how it worked, I watched YouTube tutorial after YouTube tutorial and they all felt so complicated, right? But then I discovered this. It's very simple. Choose any chord in the outer layer. I'm gonna choose, for example, C, the one on the top, right? That is my main chord. That is the key of the song, the key of the progression we're gonna play, right? So all the chords that are close to C, if I just circle them, are all the chords in the key of C. And they all work great together close to C because they're of the same family. They're of the key of C, the chord we chose in the beginning. So how do we apply the formula? C is gonna be our first chord. That's gonna be our number 1. And if we lay out an alphabet, if C is 1, which is gonna be 2? Exactly. D, and which is gonna be 3? E, and we can just follow along. F is gonna be 4, G is gonna be 5, and now it ended, so we're just gonna start in the beginning. A is gonna be 6, and B is gonna be 7. We're gonna avoid 7 because that turns into a diminished chord, and I'm guessing you're probably not wanting to play a diminished chord. So they're all nicely packed inside of that little slice of the circle of fifths. Let's keep on moving with the formula. Those little X's are chords you can choose. Whatever chord in that family, in that key, is gonna work amazing. So just pick any random number. I'm gonna choose, for example, I don't know, 3. Choose another number. Let's say 6, for example. And then the formula ends either with a 4 or with a 5. And this formula works wonders. So I'm gonna choose a 5. So what does that mean? Okay, so we started in C. We know C is our 1. Then we chose 3. If we go to our alphabet, 3 is an E. But if we look at our circle of fifths, E is actually an E minor. So a 1-3 is gonna be a C, E minor. What's the next number we chose? 6. So 6 in our alphabet is A. But if we look at this circle of fifths, it's actually an A minor. So now we have a 1-3-6, which is a C, E minor, A minor in the key of C. And which number that we choose at the end? 5. If we look at our alphabet, that's a G. And if we look at our circle of fifths, it's also a G, so G major. So now we have our fail-proof chord progression. Let's check it out. We got our 1 chord, which is C, that's the key. We jump to a 3, which is an E minor, then a 6, right? A minor, and then a 5, which is a G. Sounds awesome, right? Let's do another one. We start with the 1, which is C, and then we're gonna choose any number. Let's pick 2, for example, and then another number, 4. You can throw in a 4 and a 5 in those X's, and then we are gonna end with a 5, for example, right? So we have 1, which is C, 2 is D, but if we look at our circle of fifths, it's actually a D minor. We chose a 4 as our third chord, which is an F, and if we look at the circle of fifths, it's an F major. And then we chose 5 as an ending to our chord progression, which is G. And if we look at a circle of fifths, it's a G major. So our chord progression, 1, 2, 4, 5, looks like this. That's a 1, that's a 2, D minor, now a 4, F, and a 5, a G. Sounds awesome, right? And of course you can do this for any key. Let's choose another chord in the outer layer and do the same thing. For example, G. So I choose G, we're gonna be playing in the key of G. I choose all the chords next to G. I just draw that little slice of pie, slice of circle of fifths, and now we can apply the formula. Let's look at our alphabet. Our first chord, our 1 is gonna be G. That's at the end of the alphabet, so we just start in the beginning. Our 2 is gonna be A, our 3 is gonna be B, our 4 is gonna be C, our 5 is gonna be D, and our 6 is gonna be E. 7 is gonna be F, but that's gonna turn into a diminished, so we're gonna discard that one for now. Okay, so let's apply our little formula. Let's do something different now. Let's start with the 1, which is G, right? And then we're gonna throw in a 4, for example. Remember, you can throw in 4s and 5s into those X's. So our 4 is gonna be a C. If we look at our circle of fifths, it's a C major, so G, C. Then we're gonna throw in a 5, for example. 5 is D, and if we look at the circle of fifths, it's a D major. And then let's end with a 4 or a 5, because we already used 5, let's use a 4 again. So our chord progression is a 1, 4, 5, 4. And what do you know? Famous song applies those chords. Some people call me the space cowboy. You could switch that formula up to 1, for example, 5, 4, 5. And what do you know? Another famous song. It's late in the evening. She's wondering what clothes to wear. Pretty cool, right? All this and more I'll show you inside my best-selling book, The Ultimate Guitarist Chord Book. Let me show you that page. Wait, let me show you the entire book. Woohoo! The Ultimate Guitarist Chord Book. This book starts right from the beginning, so it's suitable for everyone, right? How to read chord charts, just in case you don't know. How to tune your guitar. The concept of chords versus shapes, which is very interesting, right? How many chord shapes do we have in guitar and how to fret them. Okay, we've got colors to identify what notes are on every shape and how to move those colors around to create other chords. Fretting chord shape exercises with videos. How to fret chord shapes properly and switching through chord shapes with videos too. Let's see what else we've got. We've got finger stretching exercises. We've got chord variations and extensions. So how to get those chords we were talking about and start creating new and exciting chords, which is very cool and very easy, right? Check it out. Let's see what else we've got. We've got easy chord progressions you can play right away. So if you're struggling to change through chords, these chord progressions sound amazing. Bar chords, how to fret bar chords, how they work. Chord variations we did earlier transformed into bar chords, which is very cool. How they move across the fretboard. We also have sharps and flats. What else do we have? An easy bar chord checklist so you can fret them properly and change through them fast. What else do we have here? We've got cage. How does it work? How it moves across the fretboard, what it's for, what do different chord shapes sound like, and what do they do? We've got triads too, so just with colors we can figure out our triads. Check them all out. The A-shaped triads, the E-shaped triads, the D-shaped triads, minor triads, and then we've got all chord theory. So how to create major chords, minor chords, sus chords, 5 chords, 7 chords, major 7, 6, augmented, diminished, add 9 chords, and how to combine everything together across the fretboard so you can play those chords all across the neck, which is really cool. What else do we have here? We've got chord voicings by genre. So what do different genres of music use to get their sound. We've got chord progression theory. Check it out. What we were talking about, right? The circle of fifths, how it works, how you can make it. This is what we were talking about. Minor chord progressions too. And then what else we've got? We've got a chord library. How to fret every single chord you'll ever want to play, right? So we've got open chords, bar chords, triads, how to fret them. See, open chords, bar chords, triads for every chord shape. So all chords are included here, which is very cool. Go and check it out. The Ultimate Guitarist Chord Book. Everything you want to learn about chords is included in this book.